Welcome to Voices Against Violence, a Harmony House podcast to educate, empower, and serve as a voice for survivors. We aim to shed light on crucial issues surrounding domestic violence, offer support, and inspire action for change. Join us as we work together to create a community where all individuals can live a life free of abuse. I'm Charity Jordan-Rex, Prevention Program Manager for Harmony House.
And I'm Kirstyn Walker, Assistant Executive Director for Harmony House.
Kirstyn, what are we talking about today?
Well, we're going to talk about the dynamics of domestic violence, specifically around the holidays.
As we record this episode, we are just a few days away from Halloween. Mm-hmm. And we have Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas, New Year's. So we are headed right into the thick of holiday season.
Sure are. The weather has turned in Springfield. It is crisp. It is rainy. It certainly feels like...
It finally feels like fall.
It feels like the holidays are quickly approaching.
Like so fast. What's your, of those fall holidays, which one is your favorite?
Well, Charity, my favorite is one that you did not list, which is my birthday. I will be celebrating my birthday.
I feel that.
It's the entire month of November.
November's birthday month.
Yeah. Anything
so
I want, I do for November and just say it's a birthday thing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I love that. I do birthday month. My favorite holiday would then be in May. But aside from your birthday, which, the entire country is not celebrating. I mean,
well, now hold on. Maybe they should. No, it's hard to pick one. I do really love Halloween. Mm-hmm. I really do. I think I know your answer to your favorite holiday.
I bet you do, because I think we've talked about it. Just Christmas. And I say Christmas, and I just hear sleigh bells in my head. I'm already buying things. I've got a new theme.
What's you've told me the theme.
I'm doing disco Christmas.
That's right. You told me that.
It's going to be bright, colorful ornaments, disco balls. I found some disco ball garland.
Amazing.
So it's yeah. So I'm super excited about that. But the impact and effect on survivors during the holidays can really be an issue. And that's what we're here to talk about. Yeah. I think this is probably one aspect of domestic violence that folks outside of this issue, if they're not experiencing it, they're not ever thinking about this.
Mm-hmm. Well, and something I think too, as we dive into this topic today, that'll be important for us to distinguish right off the bat is that the holidays do not cause domestic violence. We know that domestic violence is caused by folks choosing abusive behaviors. Mm-hmm. But there are certain dynamics that are happening during the holiday season that can certainly influence and exacerbate tensions, and we end up seeing higher rates of hotline calls during the holidays.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you said that. I'm looking at an article from this time last year in USA Today where they are talking about this, the increase in domestic violence calls during the holiday. They titled this article, Holidays Hide a Silent Pain, Toxic Abusive Relationships. December sees a 20% uptick in police domestic violence interventions. A particularly stressful time because of expectations, proximity of abusers, substance use. So I always feel like having those stats is important. So while the rest of us might be thinking, oh, it's the holidays, this is a beautiful, magical time, friends and family are gathering. But for the people in our community who are experiencing abuse, this can be a worse time.
Yeah, a
for
really
them.
Dangerous time. Yeah, I read similar articles about those exacerbating factors, the things that are adding to the tension. I think maybe just taking those one at a time and talking through them. So one of the ones was financial stress. And I think that we all feel that during the holidays. It's really possible that we all feel a little bit of extra pressure. And so, of course, that would also be at play in relationships where there is abuse happening. And
I think too, what's really striking to me is that a financial abuse piece is so common, as part of the experience for survivors. So then you take the holidays, which yeah, we're all feeling that financial stress, especially if you're going to get together with friends or family, if you're going to host any gatherings, like if you've got kids, it feels like there's this push to like everything has to be pretty. You've got to have all the gifts, like everything has to be just so. And that's stressful under the best of circumstances.
And in a dynamic when you're already feeling like you're walking on eggshells, the added pressure of folks are coming over. There's an expectation for things, how they have to look, like you said.
I think that leads really well into the next one on the list I'm looking at, which is emotional and psychological factors. Even if you have great relationships with your family, it can be just really overstimulating, overwhelming, too peoply, getting together with family, especially if you have big families, or if you try and see like both sides of the family, if you're married or, you have a partner and you're going to see it's a lot. And so that emotional toll, again, I just feel like everything that we experience, folks experience when they're not in an abusive situation. You think about how stressful it is during the holidays because of all of these things, all the obligations, all of the parties, that whatever. But then add domestic violence on top of that. So I can imagine. Let's say that survivor, they are having family come over, or they're going to someone else's house. And so now they've got to put on that mask, because you're certainly not going to be divulging that you're experiencing domestic violence at the Christmas party, right. Like over a cup of hot cocoa. Oh, by the way, so you've got to really just put on this mask that everything's normal. It's okay. You're, it's the holidays. It's great, Well,
and you bring up the idea too of, interacting with family and friends during that time. And you and I have talked about this before off podcast, but just the idea that sometimes when folks, are going to be interacting with family or going to parties or events, a strategy sometimes of abusive partners is to ruin that event prior to showing up for that event. So whether it is on the car ride over or the days or weeks leading up to it, especially I think that the role isolation plays in this, if you're going to be experiencing family and friends that your partner does not like or does not want you to be connected to, how might they try to ruin that experience so that you're not having those conversations of how things are going or what you might be experiencing? Because really isolation is all about pulling you away from folks who would be supportive and ready to help you.
Absolutely. So that's called sabotage, when one partner is really harming your opportunities for connection or and so, yeah, we talked about this off podcast, which I love that phrase. So I'm going to be using that from now on off podcast. But my ex, looking back, I did not realize this pattern in the relationship, but looking back, every single time we were going to go see his family, holidays, birth, whatever it was, we would always have an argument. Always right before. So then I would go, I would be in a bad mood. I would be sulky. So I'd be sitting in the corner and people thought like, oh, what's wrong with her? And it's, again, and that's not something you can say, well, before we got here, your son started this big dumb argument with me. But every single time.
Well, you know what that does? That alters other people's perception of you, because then what happens if you come forward and say, this is what I'm experiencing? Well, how can we trust you? You're not pleasant, or you're always in a bad mood. So it's really about shaping the narrative of how other people experience you.
Exactly. And I feel like that also can be yet another piece to this puzzle. So you're the survivor and you're with your family, whatever. And so they might be seeing a really good side of your abuser. So then you come forward, they're going to be like, maybe they're not going to be, believe you. They're not going to be supporpitive.
Right.
Because, we just saw him over the holidays and you guys, you look so in love, or, you were so not. So, and if you have family that already maybe that they aren't supportive of this, or they have told you really harmful things like, oh, just forgive them. And, you may, like, that can be a really difficult time to have to be in the room with those folks. Like the emotional gymnastics that you're having to do as the survivor, navigating all of that.
And what about the perspective of maybe they are ruining the special event or holiday because they would like you to cancel, because they do not want you to have that support and that your friends and your family around. I don't think I had considered that before of, because when we spoke about it, it was, on the way there or, right before the event. But if it's days before the event, maybe it's in hopes that you won't go.
Because they don't want you to have those connections where you can get help. One of the other things that I hadn't thought of, but on this list, increased alcohol consumption. So if your abuser likes to drink, you're going to these parties, there's alcohol, New Year's Eve, now again, drinking alcohol does not cause someone to be an abuser.
Exactly.
But it can exacerbate that behavior. So that's God, what do you do? If you're the survivor, you're at that party and you're seeing your abuser across the room just down in the cocktails and whatever, and knowing probably what's going to happen when you get home.
Right.
That's just like a ticking bomb, just ready to go off.
It's certainly a lot of different dynamics here that are influencing and impacting. I think we might be looking at similar lists, Charity, because one that I saw that surprised me was lack of support, because I don't necessarily think of lack of support during the holidays. I think of a time, when family and friends and loved ones are together. I didn't consider the fact that if the only time I'm away from an abusive partner is when I'm at work or school or my social groups that are canceled or taking time off during the holidays, I'm not seeing that support group that I normally see during the regular weeks of the year.
Yeah.
So I hadn't considered the lack of support from that perspective, from those regularly scheduled things that take a break during the holidays.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And even if you have a really good friend or, that you are able to go to, well, they're going to be occupied with their own,
they're
obligations.
Out of town. They're visiting family, whatever.
And even the support services in the community, a lot of them also closed down for the holidays. Those are holidays for their staff. They might be understaffed during the holidays. They might have limited hours during the holidays. So couple that with the isolation from your people and all, the stress, the emotional toll, and now limited access to the resources that are normally available to you. That just sounds almost impossible to bear, really.
It's a lot going on. There's a lot happening in those dynamics. We spoke about the idea of the cycle of abuse. And I think primarily when we were thinking it through, we were thinking that reconciliation or calm period that happens during a cycle. And we were thinking, well, maybe during the holidays, everyone, an abusive partner will try to reconcile or try to, put on a really good show. I hadn't considered the other ways that could influence that cycle of abuse, because we know after that calm comes tension building. And all of those things we just described, right? Financial stress, increased use of substances, lack of support, that could all certainly contribute to tension building, which then leads up to the incident.
Yeah. And that's a common cycle. What's so interesting always, every time I hear it, that cycle is the same pretty much for all abusers. The tactics they might use and how that actually plays out might look different, but that cycle's the same. Tensions build, then there's an incident, but then they reconcile. Oh, I'm sorry, I'll never do that again. I love you. And then you have that honeymoon period until the next thing that, where the tensions build. And so when someone told me that recently, that there are abusers out there who do try to pull it together and be nicer, but it's a part of the cycle.
Well, and how much how many themes of forgiveness and unity do we hear during this holiday season? And so I just wonder if that contributes to this cycle of abusive partners, knowing that that's maybe kind of at play, that we're going to be hearing messaging around forgiveness. And I wonder if that plays into the reconciliation part of it.
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that. What did occur to me? So Christmas is it's my favorite holiday. It has been for a long time. And I think partly because there's so much, it's like, you've got lights and the decorations and it feels
magical.
Like magical. But, you've got the music and there's so many messages of peace and love and hope. And so I can only imagine. And actually, I don't have to imagine, because I did kind of feel this way when I was in my previous relationship, that when your reality is so different from that, when you are in such a dark hole and experiencing some type of abuse, but the whole rest of the world, it's twinkling lights and sugar plum fairies.
Right.
Like that right there. Like,
how isolating and lonely that must feel. So isolating.
That is such a heavy load to carry.
And if that's where you are right now as a listener, if you are looking at the twinkling lights and thinking, isn't it just supposed to be so much more magical or better than this? Just know there's support out there. There's help. Please reach out to those community services. Reach out to your local domestic violence shelters, your local crisis centers. We're here during the holidays.
I think that's another good layup let's talk about what folks can do to support survivors. So I know that every person out there has someone in their family that they are concerned about. So some things that you could maybe, as you're getting together with friends and family, maybe some things to look out for with the couples around you. Maybe the person who cancels plans at the last minute a lot, or comes late, makes strange excuses for not being able to be there. Maybe the partner who isn't able to talk freely without their partner's approval. Like they might, the abuser might be talking for them, over them, any kind of weird dynamics between a couple. So I think if you already know who those folks are in your family, you too can call the hotline and get some specific advice, from advocates. Like, what can I do to help this person? They're going to be coming to my house. Like, what can I do? And get information for yourself, because
100%.
you are probably going to be seeing these folks this holiday season.
And maybe that's safety planning with the person. If they've come forward and they've shared their experience with you and you've believed them, and thank you for believing them and helping support them, safety planning with them. And if you don't know how to safety plan, that's okay. There are resources available either through your local domestic violence shelter or online, and that you can just think through those scenarios in which you're going to be with somebody and maybe their partner, maybe not their partner, and really thinking through what that might look like in that specific instance of a holiday party or a special event.
I think it could be really helpful to, it's hard with the frenzy of the holidays, but if you've got that person that you're concerned about, see if you can find a time during this season to just check in with them and say, I've observed some things. How are you doing? And just listen. I feel like if they even have just that one, maybe brief conversation to know, okay, someone else knows, they care about me, they believe me. I mean, I just think of myself during that time. If I had had one person like that, during that period, I would have felt a whole lot less alone, while experiencing what I was experiencing.
Well, there's so much stigma and shame wrapped up in abuse as well. And so by being that safe person who believes someone and checks on someone and just really opens the door to have those conversations, hugely impactful.
I feel like if you may not know anything else to do, but if all you do is be the safe person, Listen without shame, without judgment, without blame, and let that person know that they deserve safe and healthy relationships.
Talk about a gift this holiday season.
Right? Like, that's a really huge thing.
That's huge.
It's huge. Again, before we wrap up this conversation, like, I would hope that before those holidays get here, please reach out to our hotline, ask the questions, get the info, maybe do some short-term safety planning if you need to, but get that help and support now before you get into the thick of the holidays. So maybe you at least have a little bit of
use this
support.
Use this episode as your reminder. This is your reminder to do those things now.
Yeah. I'm glad we had this conversation, Kirstyn. I hate that it's needed, but help is out there, folks. Thanks for talking about this with me.
Yeah, thank you, Charity, and wishing everybody a very happy and safe holiday season.
Happy holidays. All individuals have a right to a life free of abuse. If you or someone you know needs help, please call our 24-hour hotline, 417-864-SAFE, 417-864-7233, or chat 24/7 with an advocate on our website at myharmonyhouse.org. Visit our website or follow us on our socials to stay up on the latest news and events. This is Voices Against Violence. Thanks for listening.